Welcome, everybody, to Doodtacular, where curiosity meets creativity. I am your host, Freeman, and joining me tonight is my trusty co-host, Colt. And tonight, we have the honor and privilege of having Lady Desiree on the show. And Colt, tell us about Lady Desiree.
Lady Desiree is a pianist, composer, performer, beekeeper, an aspiring homesteader, and is a verified kit creator who has been featured on the front page many times. Welcome to the show, Lady Desiree.
Thank you.
So our first question is usually the toughest, but could you briefly introduce yourself and really what it is you do here on the internet?
Well, you gave a pretty good introduction right there. I play, I play lots of music on the piano. I take your live requests, lots of geek culture music, and talk in between. And yeah, that's lots of, and I do other stuff outside of streaming. But did you ask specifically for streaming? I think you said streaming, right?
All the internet.
Yeah, I also do like videos for YouTube. I'll take some of my live stream videos and put them up on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. And we do have a beekeeping business as well. So we also have a beekeeping page, although my fiance runs that mostly. And yeah, it's awesome. Fun. I'm trying to be brief. I'm not very good at being brief, but try.
Okay. You can go as in depth as you want to. You know, it's just a conversational show. So let's talk about what inspired you to learn the piano.
Well, my father was a concert pianist. He specialized in George Gershwin music, and was a piano professor and music history professor at Florida State for many years. And so I grew up in a really musical family, obviously, of my father playing the piano. My older sister was in lessons. And my parents said I was just trying to learn her songs and was begging for lessons of my own. So they went ahead and put me in, but I was pretty young. I was 4, just about to turn 5, and just kind of took to it. Always loved it. My parents never had to ask me to practice. I always just wanted to do it on my own. And I always just knew that I was going to go into music. For a time, I was really considering writing too. I like to write. I don't write it like I used to, but I used to write like novels all the time. And so I either wanted to be a writer or wanted to go into music. But sometime in high school, I kind of really zeroed in on the piano because auditioning for a college of music or school of music is a pretty crazy endeavor depending on the school. And so I had to really prepare for that years in advance to get ready for it and build up repertoire and stuff. So around the time of high school, I really zeroed in on piano and went to Florida State also for music and loved it. And I actually didn't do a whole lot of composition. I barely wrote anything when I was younger, but I did do some arranging. I was always the pianist for church. And so a lot of times I would arrange hymns for prelude music and whatnot. And so I kind of had a little bit of kind of a little taste of that. And then it actually wasn't until I graduated from college that I started writing music. I wished I had gotten into it more while I was at FSU because I did have to take music theory classes and I did have to take some stuff, but I would have taken a whole lot more had I caught the bug earlier for composition. And so I just kind of got into that and been dabbling in that off and on for a long time and kind of more recently gotten further with it and working on some indie games right now, and actually just got asked to do an indie score for a movie just a couple days ago. And wow. So it's pretty fun. I love it, cool. But I'm still learning and I got a lot to learn, but it's fun.
I can imagine. And that's really cool. I look forward to seeing really those things as they come along. So what initially sparked your interest in becoming a content creator? Originally on Twitch, but now on Kick, really bringing your musical talent to the platforms? How did that start?
Actually, it was really kind of a fluke. So I was playing the game Destiny. Are y'all are familiar with Destiny?
Yes.
Very.
Yes. And this was the first Destiny, so it had only been out for a couple of months. Maybe not even a couple of months. No, I guess it was about a couple of months. And I was sitting in orbit, waiting to have the next planet load up, and heard a really beautiful piece. And I'd heard it a bunch of times. So this time it really struck me. I was like, gosh, I just really want to play that on the piano. So I went to look to see if I could find any sheet music, and I couldn't find any. So I decided to make my own arrangement and with some sheet music and upload it to YouTube in case anybody else was just looking for it. And so I did, and someone posted it to the Destiny Reddit site. I didn't even know what Reddit was at the time. So I was just telling all my friends that played Destiny about it. And he's like, oh, I posted it to the Destiny Reddit, and it went like pretty viral within the community. And Marty O'Donnell, who's he was the composer at the time, one of the composers at the time, tweeted it out and made a big fuss over it. And so that just kind of really, it's kind of crazy that everything really stemmed from this one piece. Like, had I not done that, I don't think I would be here talking to y'all at all. And so it just kind of snowballed in the Destiny community. People kept asking me to do more Destiny arrangements, and eventually, like, Bungie named me their community focus, and I went out to Bungie and met all the composition team. Still really good friends with many of them, and so, yeah, that was kind of what started. And so at the time, I was really kind of focusing more on my YouTube and because I was uploading things to YouTube at the time. And then one of my friends told me, like, hey, you should stream Destiny. And I didn't even really know what streaming was. I thought, like, wow, it's really weird. People like watch you play video games. Like, okay.
Everybody's first reaction right there.
Yeah, right. Like, that is super weird. But, I'm pretty extroverted. And so I thought, well, maybe this will be a good outlet for me to like talk to people. And, well, I started watching some streams, and I thought, like, actually, this is kind of fun. Like, I saw the appeal. So I started actually streaming Destiny. And so that was really my first segue into streaming. And then, Twitch then opened it up to do more than just video games, to the whole creatives. And so then I was like, well, let me go ahead and try out piano. I was really nervous to do it actually the first time, because I was way more of a perfectionist back then. I wasn't really into like live performing and improvising in front of people. And so I was kind of really obsessed with playing perfectly and having the perfect arrangement, and I mean, remember the first time I was like, gosh, how am I going to fill up an hour of, like, I was so stressed out about it. I used to get so nervous, and I just kept doing it and relaxing more and more, and realizing that, like, so what if you hit a wrong note? It's not a big deal. And I kind of really, I have streamed video games since then, but I really at that point just kind of went off and really stuck with piano mostly, because I just ended up having so much fun doing piano.
Yeah.
So.
That's a good story. A full circle from Destiny. And I played Destiny 1 a lot. Destiny 1's actually my favorite game of all time. The first one. So Destiny 2
it was
let
great.
me down a little bit, but
yeah, same. Same. The community was so good back then too. Like,
yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I miss it. But yeah, it's just pretty crazy sometimes. Like, it really felt like an inspired moment of my life too, like it felt like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's pretty wild. Cause like that, like really that one decision to do that, just like, I mean, it really changed the course of my life, truly. Right. So yeah.
It's crazy.
I hate to be the pun guy, but you could say it was your destiny.
I know.
That was good.
Yeah. So, I'm a huge Bungie fan just because of just their work on Halo. And so, like, Marty O'Donnell, I got to meet him at PAX in 2018 or 2019, and I was like starstruck. So the fact that, like, you've had that connection with them, I'm like, that's pretty epic. There's not many people. Yeah. I like, out of all the game composers, I think he's probably my top, just because of his arrangements are very heavy into piano.
Well, I mean, he co-wrote all those with Mike Salvatore, and
Yes.
Mike Salvatore was kind of the quieter one out of that duo, but he has. I mean, he had. There's a lot of those pieces that get credited to Marty that were more Mike. Actually, Mike is actually a very good friend of mine. Like, I mean,
Yes.
we keep up. Like, I talked to him the day that he got let go from Bungie. When they got rid of, he was one that they let go. So like I talked to him actually that day. So he's a really, really great guy. And he's just, I think, I mean, nothing against Marty, but just because Marty tends to be was the more extroverted one out of the two of them. A lot of times people didn't realize that Mike was behind all those songs too. But really, I mean, he is just I can't say enough good things about Mike Salvatore. Such a good person.
They're both definitely iconic. I mean, I remember the Destiny community was so split after Marty exited Bungie, and people were like, it's not going to be the same. And I think in some ways Destiny 2 improved upon the work that they did on Destiny 1.
Well, they have a really good, or they had, I should say, a really good team over at Destiny. I mean, at Bungie with Destiny, and so it was a real, I think, group effort. A lot of that, I think they all work really well together, and it's nice to have lots of different minds to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah,
but so I think their music's great.
Is there any specific meaning behind your username, LadyDesiree?
Oh gosh. So I chose that name when I was playing Halo 3. Okay. I got really sucked into Halo, and I created my Xbox name at that point. And I chose my name is Desiree. Right. And I chose Lady Desiree because I'm like, oh, it sounds like regal and, princessy. And I'm thinking like a medieval lady. Right. So I get onto Xbox to play Halo. And of course, what's the first thing I hear is like some 14-year-old boy, ooh, Lady Desire. Like, oh my gosh. And I like 99.9% of the time people say they read it as Lady Desire, which has a totally different kind of vibe that I'm not going for at all. But kind of stuck. And so I've just kept it. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of a running joke now. So, but yeah, okay. No, I mean, I was pretty naive and dumb when I picked that name. I definitely was not thinking about the teenage boys that played Halo, but yeah.
Yeah.
They run those lobbies.
Yeah, they're brutal.
Which
on the internet.
When I was playing Halo 3, I was 17 or 18, so I was close.
Yeah, it was a different time back then. It's still pretty bad. But lobbies these days, Colt and I were playing the new Call of Duty over the weekend. We're like, yep, we've gone back like 15 years. People are trash talking just as bad as they did back then. Yep. At least some things don't change. So Desiree, could you share some of your, maybe a favorite project or experience that you've had as a content creator?
I've liked a lot of charity events I've done, honestly. I was on Mixer for a time too, and loved Mixer. And the music community over on Mixer was really solid and really strong. And we did a big charity event for it was the St. Jude's, like in conjunction with all the GCX, the big thing that they do every year. And that was a really fun experience. It was sorry, I forgot to silence my phone, but it was a blast. So I would say that was definitely one of the highlights. But I've done a lot of charity events over the years, and they're all pretty special. So yeah. But I don't know. I'd have to really think about that. Think about it some more.
Yeah. No,
I'm kind of going blank right now.
So how Colt and I know about you, we were actually at Guardian Con in 2019. The last one that I would say was really good. And you were there, and we're like, wow, that's really cool. They have someone playing piano. That's really neat. Well, Like, I mean, that's how I think I've followed you on Twitter since then, but like, we're like, yeah, you know, she's really good. That's really cool. Like, no one's really doing that on Twitch at the time. And then, you know, on Kick, you've been making this push, and it's really cool to see you, you know, on the front page and really getting noticed. So that's how we found you, is through the charity events like that.
Oh,
Yep. Yep.
y'all look really familiar. Like, I feel like I have seen you, like outside of this. I feel like I've seen you in real life too, but I met so many people at the conventions. It's hard for me always to keep track of everyone. So,
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
yeah.
It has to be.
We went as just regular consumers, and we met so many people we couldn't remember them.
Mhm.
Conventions are a great time.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to the polar opposite of that last question and ask you, what has been one of the most difficult things or moments you've had as a content creator?
Well, I was involved with pretty big controversy also with GCX. So I don't know if are y'all aware of that? Do you want to hear about that?
See, we're fine to talk about it if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, it was just odd because I've had such a great, I felt like I had a great relationship with GCX. I did have a great relationship with GCX and St. Jude's too. You know, like I said, it's funny because it's like my fondest memories are also centered around my worst memory. Yeah, no, it was just really bizarre. I just tweeted out this past May that I was going to be going to GCX, and GCX retweeted it. And I've been involved with them every year. Like, I mean, I was there the very first time they even had their meetup at the bar, the very first Destiny meetup. They call it SweatCon. It was nothing, you know, it wasn't actually a convention. And then the next year is when they had their very first convention. So I was involved performing at each one, and I loved it. I loved just like, I mean, I would be there all day long playing the piano and talking to people, and it was exhausting. And I would never got any sleep because I was always at Airbnbs with everybody who was partying all night. And like, I mean, it was a blast. I was hyped up on caffeine. It was a great time. I loved it. So, you know, I've always just had a really great experience doing that. And I was excited. I retweeted, or GCX retweeted I was going to be out. And I went in to go teach some piano lessons. And by the time I came out, my phone had blown up because somebody that saw that GCX retweeted, I guess, has decided to vet every single creator. I don't know. But went through my Twitter following list and saw that I followed an account called Gays Against Groomers, which is a LGBT and T community that speaks out against transitioning children. And their position is, you know, you need to wait until you're adults for that. And I thought I did not think that was like a radical position to take at all. And I wasn't even tweeting about it. It was just an account I was following. Wow. But but the person saw that and I guess decided I was transphobic and decided to make a big stink about it to GCX. And GCX put out a statement saying that they were looking into matter, but it didn't sound good. And, you know, it just kind of blew up, and we just decided to kind of part ways, basically. I was kind of soured on how it was handled, and I didn't know what it would. I wasn't sure if they would want to have me back. I felt like if it would probably come with some sort of apology, which I felt pretty strongly that I was not going to do, because I didn't feel like I did anything wrong. And so, you know, I mean, there's a chance that I probably, you know, maybe I could have had I had more of a discussion with them, but I was just kind of over it at that point. But it was a really weird experience, like bizarre. It was a very bizarre experience to go through, because I guess I had felt like, I don't know, I thought that I'd been around the community long enough to where people would not jump on that hate bandwagon. And so, but a lot of, I mean, I don't name names, so I'll never name names. And, you know, they know, those people know that I won't do it. And that's like kind of the frustrating thing. Cause I'm like, man, maybe if I did name names, maybe people wouldn't treat me this way. But I got unfollowed by a lot of very, very big people and people that I'd known for a long time. And I felt like, I don't even think they unfollowed me because they thought it was true. I think they unfollowed me because they were worried about haters coming after them for following me. You know, they were
Then
more worried
they
about.
would be like, oh, you follow Lady Desiree, so you
Yeah.
agree with everything she says, and then they get the same hate.
Yeah, it's this guilty by association thing. And I understand it. Like, I do understand it. And I don't hold any of those, like, I really don't hold any ill will towards any of those people, but I am disappointed. And I think it speaks to a real huge problem in the gaming community. Although I do think the tide is turning, because I think people are getting kind of sick of it. I think so, but that might just be me being overly optimistic, which I tend to do. So
No,
I don't know.
It's gotten to a ridiculous point of cancel culture and people that are just, keyboard warriors trying to wreck people's careers on purpose. And it is getting pretty ridiculous, but the world's gotten to a weird place where you're not allowed to believe what you believe or support what you support without immediate hatred. And I don't understand that, because if somebody just disagrees, why can't you just disagree? And I mean, there's no reason to hate each other for it.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. Like, because I remember that whole situation. And it's like, this person had to have literally just said, you know what? I have a vendetta. I'm looking for something.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like, just these keyboard warriors these days. I'm honestly surprised that everyone hasn't gotten canceled yet, just because everything is apparently all it takes is one thing, and that's enough. Like, your character and how you've behaved the entire time, the relationships, they all mean nothing. If one thing pops up, no, you're done. That to me is just not acceptable. So it's interesting, honestly, to see the culture shift between Twitch and Kick, and we'll get to that, just because it feels like Kick is more forgiving. You don't have to be this monotonous block of beliefs, which I honestly believe that's what Twitch has become. If you don't say the right things, believe the right way, look the right way, you don't belong on this platform, which is crazy for they say, this is for everybody. Well, it's not really. It's for everybody who believes the exact same set of things and says the exact same things. And if you don't, well, too bad.
Well, yeah, that's what was so bizarre about the claim with, or at least one of the wording that when GCX put it out is that they want their event to be safe and inclusive. And I'm like, look, I would never in a million gazillion years make somebody feel unsafe at one of these events. Like, to me, that is what's so beautiful about music. It is a universal language. It's it's something that appeals to anybody and everybody. And it doesn't matter what you look like. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care any of that. If you're enjoying the music, I'm going to be totally cordial and polite and treat you just like the person next to you. And that's what I've done for years, So it's like, I mean, who are we excluding here? I'm being excluded just because I have an opinion on when children should have surgeries. Like, you got to be kidding me. It was so crazy. But it's anyway, yeah. it was a really bizarre experience. Very, 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 very weird. And then it was weird because it wasn't hurtful. Like, this person didn't even know me. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird. It's like it's not like they would have a reason to have a vendetta against me. I didn't know them. I sometimes have to remind myself of what their name was, because they weren't even like a big streamer. I'm like, wait, who was that again? So, I mean, that was weird. That person came out for me, but that's not what was hurtful. What was hurtful were the people who I felt like didn't come to my defense, even though I understand that they were afraid. It was still hurtful. And just people that that just ghosted me, that were my friends for years. I'm in a much better place now, but it took me a while to kind of get to a, place where I could accept that.
Yeah.
But
I can't imagine that, where all these people who you would consider friends, right? Like, you've had relationships with, these aren't just people you've sent a tweet to. These are probably people you've had conversations with, you've talked together at events, so they know who you are. But then basically, they bullied you in a sense. Like, the one time you needed someone to stick up for you, they just said no. The easier thing to do is to say, yeah, I don't know this person.
Yeah.
No association.
And it simply could have just, if the larger creators that, didn't come to your support, didn't support you in this, if it would have just simply been hey, look, guys, she believes or she has this stance on what she thinks. Allow her to have her stance. If you don't agree with her, that's fine. But if they would just come in together and say, look, we're not going to cancel this person just because of something they have a stance on, grow up, then it would all just be put to rest. And it wouldn't escalate to like all of these people getting canceled. It would just be pushed down right there. And that's what it really needs to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think had they ignored that first person that like tweeted that out, I think it would have been, I think it would have lasted maybe an hour because I'm not that big of a person, you know, like people would have moved on to something else. If it just been ignored, nothing would have come from it. But now it's like, so what kind of precedent are you setting here? So is every single creator now tied to an event going to be vetted like I was? Are we going to go through their list? And does following an account mean that you agree with every single thing that person has tweeted? I mean, that's a ridiculous standard. Who puts us kind of those qualifications on? I mean, that's ridiculous. So, yeah, I think that I do kind of wonder if there were probably some regrets on how it was handled initially. You know, look, we're all human. I don't even know who put the original tweet out. It might have just been, it was probably just a knee jerk reaction without thinking it through. And I do get it, you know, but, I don't know. It was just a weird experience, but I mean, humans are weird, you know, it's a weird time in the world. It's a really weird time. So,
especially on the internet.
Especially when you give everyone a tool to share their opinion. And then what do? They hate on other people's opinions.
Yeah. I did have a streamer that shall remain nameless who I used to like, I was very friendly to her and she like did a whole stream on Twitch about like, how evil I was or how GCX got it right. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like it was funny, but she was just somebody who like, apparently I didn't even know. I'm like, what happened to this person? I asked somebody else like, oh, this is all she does now. She just like, that's her shtick. She just hates on people. I'm like, wow, that's a pretty awful
that
shtick.
Stuff sells. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I was going to say, it almost seems common to see creators eat each other for clout. Like, so many people are in this game trying to win that they will step on and ruin whoever they need to make $1. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, what is going on in this industry? And it's interesting that this behavior is celebrated.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gotten so toxic on Twitch. And honestly, I really wasn't streaming on Twitch because I was just so sick of it. And then I kind of started seeing all this stuff pop up about Kick. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to try it out because it seemed like a different sort of platform. And I really have been very happy over there. Very, very happy. So I'm glad, like I had felt like maybe the streaming door was closed for me, but like I left it open just a little crack, you know, and saw a little green light shining through from Kick and kicked it open.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've been very happy to be back streaming because I do love it. So, you know, it's nice. And it has been tough to rebuild. It has definitely been a really rebuilding process, but now I feel like I'm kind of rebuilding with people who are just going to, you know, accept me for me. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, I've definitely gotten a thicker skin from all of it. So that's a silver lining, I guess.
That's good. That's good.
That's good. So talking about growing and building, talk to us about your experience in growing your content. So you were a Twitch partner, correct? Or are? I was never a Twitch partner, which was kind of another thing that really scared me too on Twitch because I applied so many times. I had the metrics. I was a Mixer partner. I got partnered on Mixer and I loved Mixer too. And of course, when Mixer shut down, I had to go back to Twitch. And the last time I applied for partnership on Twitch after I had been back from Mixer and I had, I'd had a really good like month or whatever, you know, before I applied. And, I was just kind of like, I'm done. I'm done with this grind. It was just because I can't do the grind. Like I'm a mom too, by the way. I'm a mom of 3 kids. And so like, that's time consuming. I can't do these long 6+
plus hour long streams, which, when you're trying to get your viewership up, you have to do a long stream. And it was just too hard. Not to mention, it's really hard to play the piano that long. Like, it's exhausting. After 4 hours, your body really starts to feel it. And it's not good. Like, I've had tendonitis so many times from long streams. And so I just I was sick of it. I was like, this is annoying. I feel like it was all about who you knew at Twitch. I wasn't sure why I wasn't getting partnered. So I kind of started tapering off around then. And then just kind of that was really coinciding with the culture just being really ridiculous with Twitch. And then all this happened with GCX. And I was just kind of like, ugh, like, I need a break, but then, like I said, like, Kick kind of pulled me back in. And honestly, like, having the 100% sub revenue, nearly 100%, it's like 99 point whatever 5, was just a little fees. It makes it so much more worth it, because you do, like, I feel like it's way, way more worth my time. I'm not in their, they have like their creator program where you can get the hourly wage. I'm not in that yet, but I feel like I'm kind of, it's not too far off for me. But even without that, I feel like I don't really feel like I need to get to this grind that's nearly impossible to make it feel significant, and on Twitch, it was always about getting partners. So I don't know, it just seems to make a lot more sense for my situation. It's not, and everybody's got to make their own decision and evaluate what's going on in their life. But for me, it definitely has made more sense.
So being a music creator on Kick, has it been harder or easier than compared to something like Twitch, or, how have you seen the growth of your community and stuff on a new platform?
Well, Kick has been really supportive to me. They've put me on their front page a lot. Which is like, I don't know why. I really appreciate it, but I didn't like reach out to anybody or anything, like, so I'm not really quite sure how that happened, but I've been really, really grateful for that. So I've gotten a lot more exposure. The music directory is still pretty small on Kick, but I've been here before. Like I was on Twitch when it was really small. I remember when it was very, very small on Twitch, and then I was on Mixer where it was small. So that doesn't scare me at all. I don't mind being in a small directory, because I know the music directory will grow. Music just does really well on these platforms. So I'm not concerned. I know it'll get bigger. So wait, what was the original question? Did I answer it? Sorry.
Just has it been easier or harder on the new platform?
Yeah. So there's hard parts and there's easy parts. So having the exposure from Kick has been huge. It's definitely a platform that's still in its having growing pains. So there'll be like little hiccups here and there, but I'm not really much of a tech person, so I don't really need all the bells and whistles. So I know like a lot of people kind of complain a lot about that with Kick not having the open source stuff. And I'm like, I don't even really know what that means. So whatever. Yeah. I'm getting by just fine. And I know it's growing, and they'll keep adding this stuff. So it doesn't worry me.
So Definitely. I told, when we first started doing some streams on Kick, I was telling people if doing alerts and setting things up felt like old school Twitch, like back before Streamlabs and before Stream Elements were really a big thing. Like you had to do everything manually. And that's what I was like, I feel like I'm doing Twitch in 2014 again.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the future of live streaming? Now that we have multi-streaming on Twitch, they finally broke down their wall. Where do you see live streaming going? You were on Mixer, how that went. I guess, where do you see Kick versus Twitch versus all the other things that are trying to vie for top platform?
I don't know. I think that getting that revenue from Kick, that 100% revenue, is very, very appealing for people. So I don't know why anybody wouldn't, if they're on Twitch and they have a following. I'm not sure why they wouldn't want to multi-stream to Kick at this point. I personally have a hard time multi-streaming back to Twitch, only because I feel like so irritated with Twitch. I don't really want like any of my like half my sub revenue to go to them. And so I feel like I need to do a few streams just to maybe pull over anybody else that's still on Twitch. It doesn't know I'm on Kick, but I kind of can't bring myself to do it. Kind of have a little bit of a block, which maybe kind of an immature thing, and maybe I'll get over it. But right now it's like, you know, I don't know. It's just, it feels really weird. So, but I definitely think that people are going to really, I would think, will take the multi-streaming, go ahead and use that and use it to their advantage, and try and grow their brand across different platforms. I'm not really sure like who's going to win out, but I think competition is always good. I mean, Twitch got much better when Mixer was around.
Yes,
Mixer really challenged Twitch. And so I think it's only going to, I mean, it's already helping Twitch. I wouldn't have, I think, felt the pressure to lift that ban on the multi-streaming or whatever, if Kick hadn't been around. So I think all the streams are going to just keep getting better and more competitive. And that's definitely a good thing. You always need competition.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting, and Colt and I have even talked about this. Like, why would to me, the value proposition of multi-streaming, I don't think there's a real good argument for or against it. What I do have an argument for is, why would you tell people, if you're multi-streaming on Kick and Twitch, to give me your money on Twitch, when you know half of that is going to go to a platform that would ban you the second you become a liability?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would not. And I hate to be this way to all the fine folks watching on Twitch, but I would not encourage you to give your money to Twitch. So if you're going to give us your money, there's Kick.
If you have the ability on both platforms to receive revenue, Kick is definitely the one to invest in.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So if you could go back knowing what you know now, or if you were just starting streaming now, what's one piece of advice that you wish someone would have given you?
I mean, man, that's so hard. Streaming is very difficult. And I think a lot of people think they can stream. And it's not even about that being the entertaining, but just the mind games that can play on you if you are really like working towards really wanting to do it for like a part-time job or even a full-time job. You have to really be grounded, which I don't think a lot of people are. I think that's a tough quality in humanity right now. You know, I mean, it is the entertainment industry. And like, you see how messed up people are in Hollywood. It chews you up and spits you out. It's the same thing. And streaming is an extension of the entertainment industry. So you have to kind of really I think you need to go into it really knowing yourself well and knowing your self-worth. Because I feel like too many people will get very caught up in the numbers and why am I not partnered and am I not good enough? And, you know, like, oh, this camera is making me look fat or whatever, you know, and all these are all, by the way, all things that I have like thought at times too, that I have to really make sure I stay centered on. But like, it's taken a lot of work, and I consider myself a pretty grounded, like in normal life. I think I'm a pretty grounded person. So, it's that kind of has taken me off guard a little bit. Like, oh gosh, like I'm getting kind of weird. I'm getting kind of weird right now about this. Like I have to like check myself sometimes. So I think it is very tough. And I think people need to, if I could go back, I'm not really sure what I would do differently, because I think I've learned from everything along the way. So I don't know if I really would do anything differently. But I would just try and like probably give myself another pep talk to like, you know, you're going to have your slumps. It's going to be okay. You'll get through it. Don't worry. You know, just concentrate on loving it. It's going to be fine. Probably say something like that to myself, you know?
Yeah.
But,
no, that makes sense.
The success rate of live streamers has to be below I know it's below 5%, but it's got to be below 1% or 2% at least. I mean, like you said, it's an extremely hard thing to be consistent in. And like you said earlier, you have to stream a good amount of hours to build a viewer base. And then also, as people say all over the internet, you really need to be creating content elsewhere to draw more people in. So that's even more hours put into it. And then if you're trying to work a full-time job and if you have a family, it's borderline impossible to do.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I used to do that I finally was just like, I got to cut this out. Is I would compare like, oh, well, this person is doing the same thing I'm doing, like, and they're so much more successful. And that person would be like not in a relationship and not have children. And like, that's, I mean, that's a huge difference. Huge difference. Like I could be up. Yeah. I could be up until 2 a.m. doing this and, get up at, like, I mean, go on 6 hours of sleep or whatever. You just can't do that when you're a parent and you're trying to juggle everything. And so you have to I've always known like my road is just going to be longer. It's just going to be longer. And do I want to do this or not? Like, am I expecting to be super famous and make like, 6 figures off of this? Like, no, I'm totally not. But I'm looking to supplement my piano teaching income because I really love this. And I've been able to do that, pretty significantly, especially on Kick. I mean, I'm doing better on Kick now than I was ever doing on Twitch. And I've only been on Kick for a couple months, but that's what having double the sub revenue is huge. So, anyway, it's just, you have to have realistic expectations. And I think a lot of times people go into this, not really take into whole account their entire life and how streaming is going to really fit into it in a healthy way. Life is all about balance. So you have to really like keep that balance to be happy and healthy. And that gets really off kilter a lot of times for streamers. They put everything into streaming. And I don't really know if that's really the healthiest way to do it personally, but I don't know.
I agree.
Fully agree. And you've actually answered one of our questions, which we were going to ask you, which I think is great because it is something we see many people struggle with, which is the balance, right? How do you balance being a content creator with your personal life? Because all too often people compare themselves to other people, and it's not a 1-to-1 ratio here. Like I'm married, I have a son, Colt's married, he has 2 kids and 1 on the way. It's like it's totally different. Like if I was single, maybe 10 years younger, had more energy, yeah, I could sit here and stream for 12 hours a day when I wasn't working and sleep for like 3. So really, balance is key, like you said.
Yeah. Well, when I first met my fiance in 2018, I was streaming in the evenings, and I would put my kids to bed, and my kids were a little bit younger then. So like they could go to bed early and they'd be out, and I would stream in the evenings, but I would be going to like 1 a.m, and then I have to get up, and I wasn't doing it every night, but I was doing it quite often. And like, my fiance is a health nut, like very extreme, like Mr. Healthy, everything. And he was like, you got to stop doing that. This is really going to hurt you going on such little sleep. And I took it to heart, and I did end up changing over a time to doing like working it in to just doing a little bit more like daytime streams, or morning streams, like when I wasn't teaching, and I shifted, and it was really hard to make that shift because it was a completely, and that's the thing is I have rebuilt so many times, not even just from platforms, but just going from nighttime, like it was a totally different audience. And, so I will like totally give him that credit because he's really helped me like be healthy with it. Cause I really wasn't before when I was really burning the candle at both ends. And, so, that having him, he's been so supportive. And we're engaged now, and we don't have a date set yet, but, we're practically married. We've been together forever. So,
Congrats.
Well,
yeah,
still
thank
congrats.
you. Thank you. But it is good to have somebody in your life that can kind of like, be like, okay, you need to take some time, or, put your health first. That's important. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for having the help too, when sometimes, I need help to be able to stream. If I have to do something in the evening or whatever, he can help me out. So
having someone on the outside that can look in is a huge thing, in many aspects of life. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways it's harder when you have a family, and a significant other, but having that support though is also huge. Like having someone in your corner that can like be, tell you like, you're not old and you're not fat and blah, 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 blah. When I get weird about like the camera, I'm like, oh my gosh, my wrinkles are showing, like it's nice to have somebody that can kind of also like assure you, like help keep you grounded in that and encourage. And I would much rather have it this way. Obviously. I mean, of course you have a family, you understand too. It's not like you would trade your family for a
No.
streaming career that had taken off. But yeah, but it's always a tricky balance, but I think it can be done.
Yeah, for sure. What advice would you give other people looking to become music streamers?
Well, I guess it depends kind of on what they're doing. Like what kind of music they want to make, or what exactly they're doing. I would, that's kind of a hard question. I think that for me, one of the things I just had to do was just do it, honestly. Because you just kind of have to just jump in and start to feel your way around, and like you get your pieces that you are like your go-to pieces that really well. It just kind of takes time. Like I really didn't do any prep, and I don't really ever do prep before my streams. Like if I'm learning a new song, I'm usually learning it on stream. Occasionally I will pull something out off stream, but really I don't do much of that. And that stuff used to freak me out in the beginning, like I said, but now I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. People don't care if you stumble. And I think sometimes it's kind of nice for people to see you kind of stumble your way through it. And then like, oh, here she's learning it now. Look how good it sounds or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think people are as obsessed with perfection as definitely as I thought they might be. I thought in the beginning, like, oh, everyone's going to be looking to see if you mess up, because, it was weird at Florida State. When I was around other really, really good musicians, like it was the hardest times to play were when you had to play in front of your peers, because they were brutal.
Right.
Like they really were brutal. I mean, I had some amazing friends, and my friends were always very sweet, but like other people were very brutal to each other. They were just very nitpicky and, oh, well, she took a little too much rubato there or whatever. And it's like, there's a lot of music snobs in college. So I guess because I had that, maybe I thought like maybe other people don't care. But most of the time people don't even realize you hit a wrong note, So
it's
I
like
think
a fear of you not wanting people and like having viewers that are, expert musicians to judge you right there in your chat because they know what they're talking about, because like I play, in a worship band on Sunday mornings and Wednesdays. And I think the same thing, like I know everybody in our church, we have a small church, but you think in your head, like when you see somebody new, you're like, I wonder if they're like a closet expert guitarist and they think I suck.
Yeah. I mean, occasionally I'll get a little music snob that will come into the chat, and they always irritate me. And I usually call them out on it too. Cause I'm like, no one's impressed, but it's pretty rare. It's very, very rare. So, that probably would be my biggest advice, is just don't get too hung up on playing perfectly. Just go for it and have fun. Because if people can tell when you're having fun and enjoying the music and you're feeling the music. And that's ultimately what I think matters a lot as a performer, to see that you're kind of really connecting with the music.
was gonna say that I think that piece of advice almost extends to any creator, because most people are bad actors. So if you're not having fun, we can see it. Like it's
Yeah.
most people, you can read their face. It's like, look, you've been streaming for 6 hours. Stop. You're not having
Yeah.
fun. We can see it.
Yeah.
So with that, how do you engage with your audience, and what efforts do you put in place to ensure that they come back? Like, what are some of the things you try to do to ensure a new viewer would stay or come back for another stream?
Well, I always welcome them in. If I get a follow, I play a little like this little. I don't know if you could that came out or not, but it's the little Mario little fanfare when he clears a course. So I always like play a little fanfare if I get a follow, or make sure I welcome them in. My request, I fluctuate sometimes if it's just for followers or if it's for subs. It's usually for subs only, but a lot of times I kind of am lenient. So if they're like, oh my gosh, do you know any Final Fantasy? I love Final Fantasy so much. Like, I'm not going to say, well, you have to be a sub in order to request it. Usually like, oh yeah, we have lots of Final Fantasy. And I'll look in our song list. Hey, I don't have anything on my song list. I'll play another Final Fantasy. So try and if they're showing an interest in something, trying to, because I want to play music that people want to hear, whether or not they're a sub. Like, I would like to know that someone in the audience is wanting to hear a particular piece. So yeah, I think I just try and connect with them really on whatever music they like, trying to find out. And I do try and remember people's favorite pieces. So I can say next time, oh, I know you love this one. Let me, or this person's in chat, they like this one a lot too. I have a terrible memory. So that's always been a challenge for me. It's trying to remember remember the name with the conversation, but I've gotten a lot better at that. So I think just people want to, they want to be able to connect with the streamer, and I want that too. That's the part that I like. I'd like to be able to remember who's who and what pieces they like. It makes it feel, I mean, they are real, but it makes it feel like they're in the room with you,
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, having been an active viewer for the last month or so, I can definitely see it. So much so that I showed my wife your stream because she plays piano, and she's like, this has become our favorite work audio track, is to pull up the stream and we'll listen to you. And it's just been really cool to see how you connect with your audience through music, especially the song requests, because people sure do pull out some interesting requests.
Yeah, we can get some funny ones sometimes, but yeah, no, it's fun. I enjoy it a lot. Thank you.
All right, so let's go into our final segment of the night, which is the rapid fire round. These don't actually have to be rapid. We can go as long or short on these questions as well, but
okay.
We just call it the rapid fire round. So we'll start off with, what is your favorite video game of all time?
Probably Zelda Ocarina of Time.
It's a good one.
Maybe Twilight Princess. I love Twilight Princess too.
Yeah, I'm not well versed in Zelda. I played Zelda on the original Game Boy. I don't remember which one that is, Link's Awakening or A Link to the Past. I can't remember. And then my next Zelda game was Breath of the Wild. So I'm not well versed in Zelda.
Yeah, I love Zelda games. I also really, I have a lot of that. I love Destiny too. Destiny 1 is not Destiny, TOO 2, not the number 2. But I like Destiny 1 a lot also. That's probably, and I loved Halo 3. That one was huge. There's a lot. I'm very bad at picking a favorite. And I like some really old ones too, because I'm old. I like some old Super Nintendo games too.
Yeah, Super Nintendo is a great console.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of our guests that we've had on, because they're gamers, they never have one. There's at least two, and one is a retro title, and one is one from 10 years ago or something like that. And so, I could tell you my favorite game in recent time was Halo 3. My favorite game of all time might be Pokemon Gold.
I never played Pokemon Gold. But I love Mario games. So like all the old Mario 2, Mario 3, Super Mario, or Mario World. Yeah, all of
Super
those.
Mario 3 was my very first video game I ever played. Regular Nintendo Super Mario Brothers 3. Yep.
So my very first one was the original Mario and Duck Hunt,
yeah.
combo. Yep, it was a combo cool. On the NES.
So another game related question. What's a popular video game that everyone seems to love that you don't like?
Gosh, that's a hard question. Shoot, I don't know. I don't think I have an answer for that. I don't think I'd have to think more about that, because there's a lot of games I just haven't played, but I don't know if there's something I would say like I've played it and I don't like it. I think it's just more like I haven't played it. I would say like I haven't really got into a lot of like Final Fantasy. I love the music from Final Fantasy. Okay. I love the music from Final Fantasy, but I've never actually played it. I watched my ex play 10. And so I watched him play it. And it didn't really appeal to me for me to pick up and play myself. But I kind of enjoyed watching the cutscenes really from it. But I would get bored just like watching him like battle people. Also, the game that was really, again, this was a hard to watch. And now playing would be very different though. But what's it? Portal. Portal was like, I felt like I was going to be sick watching that game. Like, oh my gosh.
What about Portal in VR?
Is that a thing?
No,
Portal in VR?
I hope not, but that would make you sick, I think.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, that would definitely make me sick. Yeah, that's a tough question. But I would say I'm pretty open though to stuff. So yeah. So, anyway.
What is your favorite genre of music?
Oh geez. Gosh, that's really hard too. I would, I will say like, I really like old standards. I don't know if that's really probably my favorite is just like pop music, but like, cause that just covers so much. But, I actually like kind of more like, I really like indie folk style stuff too, but I really like old standards. I'm like, Sinatra, like that kind of, like I told you, my father
Big
was
band jazz.
Yeah. Like my father grew up playing Gershwin. So I kind of got exposed to a lot of stuff. I just love those old songs. I just think they're so romantic, and I love the orchestration, and, I love that style. Like that's my favorite. I would say like if I had to just like pick a style that I consistently like, I could probably listen to any old standard and enjoy it. I might not know it, but I would just enjoy it. I wouldn't have to be like, ugh, this sounds awful. Like pop is like so all over the place. I could love up one pop song and hate another,
True.
So yeah.
No, and that I grew up around standards. It's a long story. I don't think I've ever explained it on stream, but standards, jazz, big band, that nice. To me, I could listen to anything and it's great. I could ask you this question. I don't know if I want to, but what's your least favorite genre of music? One that you just go, I don't want to listen to this. Let's listen to something else.
I used to be a real snob with metal music, but my fiance likes it, and he doesn't listen to like a lot of metal, but he does some. And so I've kind of come around because I realized I was being really snobby about it, and I tried to pride myself on not being a music snob, and I actually do like some metal now, but it's usually the very like more melodic kind of toned down stuff. Yeah. I can't really listen to stuff that's where it's just a like constant screaming, and I need something with a melody. Like I really need a strong melody in there. So that's probably like the really, really screamy stuff is hard for me.
I can agree with that. My wife is like, if there's no melody and it's just screaming, it's like, is this music?
Yeah, I love rock and metal music, but and it can be really beautiful music. You know, if it's like you said, if it has a really good melody and the musicians actually know how to write a song rather than, like you said, they just, a lot of it is just screaming the whole time and playing as fast as possible. And it just, it sounds like a jumble in a good portion of it. But, you know, when you find a band who is really good, like, you know, Avenged Sevenfold is one of my favorite rock bands that there is out there. And they are really, really good musicians.
Yeah. I was just going to say my fiance, it's funny because like he loves Metallica, but he likes the old Metallica. He's very, I guess, you know, that's the thing, right? So like old Metallica, I'm like, I kind of like the newer Metallica. Like that's when I guess they became more sellouts and tried to sound more like commercial. Like, I'm like, that's the stuff I like. So I always joke with him, like, I like the newer stuff. But anyway.
Yeah,
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Baby steps.
I went through a phase where I was like, old Metallica was better because it was thrash. Now I'm like, I'm more of old man. Like, I like the newer albums. They're just more not thrash metal. You know, more melodic. The songs are definitely slower.
I'm with your fiance. I don't even listen to the new Metallica. I just listen to old Metallica.
Or CD.
Well, and when I say like new Metallica, I don't mean like are they still doing like recent stuff?
Yeah, they had an album this year.
They still do newer stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I don't really mean that recent. I just guess I mean like when they kind of got pretty famous, like the, you know, like the Enter Sandman, like, yeah, like kind of their later stuff in that era is the stuff that everybody knows. Like that's the stuff that I like. But he likes like the longer, like, I don't know, crazy long pieces or like 10 minutes long. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's thinking
Ride the Lightning.
Yes. Yep. One. Actually, I do kind of like one now. I actually sometimes play along with that one on piano, but that's taken me like when it gets to the crazy part, I'm like, what is going on here? It's just, it's insane.
So our next question is, how do you pronounce .gif?
I would say GIF.
Another one, Colt.
I won one.
Another one.
I won one. I say GIF. And we have this argument. Yeah. I don't know. It's just the way I naturally said it. And we've only had one other guest that has agreed with me. Everyone else says GIF. But we've actually found out that the creator of it pronounces it GIF as well.
I did read that too.
Yeah.
I did read that.
That's got to be fake news.
It probably is. It's on the internet. You can't believe that.
So, Colt, you've got the next one?
Yeah. So I was reading chat. Sorry. Another controversial question. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
I'm going to say no. It's a hot dog.
Been a consistent answer, but there's arguments to this as well because it's also shaped just like a sub sandwich.
It's true. I mean, that's a very good point, but it's a hot dog.
It's true. It is a hot dog. And I agree with you. A hot dog is a hot dog. I agree.
So does a straw have one or two holes?
Two.
Yes, I agree very much.
That's a good answer.
We've had some good arguments on this one because people want to compare straws, but then we get into length of straws. Like if the straw went all the way through the earth, you have a hole on one end and a hole on the other end. But when you look at just a basic straw, they're like, it's just one consistent hole. So I don't know. We've had a lot of debate on that one. But I think Freeman and I both agree that it's two holes. So.
Yeah, definitely never thought of that. Yeah. I could see the argument for the other way. I can.
Yeah. Well, does pineapple belong on pizza?
Oh, yes. I had some yesterday, actually.
Oh, gosh.
Pineapple on pizza. So good. Hawaiian pizza all the way.
That's
do you use the ham and whatever. What all do you put on yours with pineapple?
Well, the pizza we got, I subbed the ham for pepperoni, but I don't mind when there's ham. But it had bacon, pineapple, pepperoni. And I think that was it, actually. I think it was just those three.
Okay.
But that's probably my favorite. Pepperoni, bacon. Oh, sausage was on it too. Yeah.
Italian sausage?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, Italian
Interesting.
sausage.
Oh,
So it's like a pizza plus pineapple.
Yeah, I like
Fruity
a meat
pizza.
lovers with some pineapple.
there
Yeah.
you go. There you go. Okay. Question not related, or related to this, but not in our normal questions. What is your go-to pizza place?
Well, like I like local places. I don't like chain pizza. So the one that we went to the other day was actually they just rebranded, but it's in a little town where we have a bunch of land where we keep our bees, most of our bees. But yeah, it's delicious pizza. It's very, very good.
Yeah, local pizza is always better.
Local is best. So when you make cereal, what do you put in first, the milk or the cereal?
Actually, I do something a little different. I do not like soggy cereal. So I have cereal in the bowl and milk on the side in a glass.
Wow. Okay. That's a first. So you like just use a spoon as
So I eat
well?
it dry.
Take a bite dry, drink a little milk with
No,
it?
I just have it dry, eat a spoonful, and then I like drink some milk.
Are you a big cereal eater? Is it often?
Not that often, but it used to be more.
Same.
I do
I'm
not like
a big
soggy cereal
eater.
though.
I eat cereal
So
maybe
it's-
like once a year.
It's funny. I want to say I saw an ad on YouTube of all things for a cup where it has like this basket tray for the cereal that sits on top and the milk is in like a cup. And their big thing is when you take a swig, you get some of the cereal that's dry and milk all in a cup. And I'm like, that's immediately what I thought of. I'm like, it's that principle of I don't want my cereal soggy.
Yeah.
Are you the same way with like breads? Like you can't do, if a bread gets any kind of soggy, you can't eat it?
Nah, I'm not really that picky with stuff.
Okay.
But
My
with
dad's
cereal,
that way.
like,
My dad can't do anything soggy.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. So fashion question. Is it wrong to wear socks with sandals?
That's a little weird. Yeah.
Mhm.
Socks with sandals? Yeah.
Well, differentiating the sandals, a regular flip flop with the toe splitter.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
Yeah,
a
no,
hard
definitely.
But what about like slides where it just has the top over your top of your foot?
I mean, I think that's still kind of weird.
Think so?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I can get on board with that. I'd never wear sandals, so I can't say whether I would or not.
And this,
Well, I'm in Florida. We have a lot of sandals here, so.
Yeah.
See, that's where I come from, and no one seems to agree. Like most of our guests, they come from like, Ohio. We've had some from Texas and Kentucky, a couple of California, and they're like, yeah, no, socks with sandals. And I'm like, I'm from Florida. Like, if I see people wearing socks with sandals, I go, that's a tourist. They're not from.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. You can always tell the tourists too, like when it's January in Florida and the beach and they're going swimming. We're like, what are you doing? Floridians do not go swimming in January. Come on. The water's too cold. But
no, 3 weeks ago when the weather dropped, everyone, had their jeans on, their hoodies. They acted like it was 30 degrees. It's like, it was only 70, guys. It's going to be okay. I promise.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
we're a weird bunch in Florida.
It really are. And that's why Florida man is a thing.
Yep.
So our final question for tonight. What is your go-to fast food order?
I am not much of a fast food person. If I do fast food, I will probably go to a sub place like Firehouse Subs. That probably would be the best bet for me. And I like their turkey bacon sandwich. I think it's turkey bacon ranch. I forgot what it's called. Hook and ladder, maybe that's what it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah. Probably Firehouse Subs. Yeah. I used to love Taco Bell. Growing up, I used to eat a lot of Taco Bell. I cannot at all eat Taco Bell. Like, forget it. It would
Yep.
wreck me. It doesn't appeal to me. I don't know how I ate it for so long, but I can't. I don't know. Something happens when you get older. Like your stomach is like,
Yeah.
no, not. I can't handle it. Can't handle any of this. So
It's true.
Forget
It's
it.
true.
Definitely know how that goes. So, if people on the internet watching this or listening to it on their favorite podcast platforms, they go, "Hey, I want to follow Desiree." How would they do that? Where do they go?
Well, I'm Lady Desiree on Kick, on Twitch, or on Twitch, on Twitter, or X, I should say. Also, Lady Desiree. On Instagram, I could not get Lady Desiree, so it's Lady Desiree 00. And actually, I'm on TikTok as well. I think it's also 00 on TikTok. They don't post a whole lot on there. And I think that's all the main ones. I do have a website too. It's Desiree Wright piano.com, or is it music? I should probably know that. See, Desiree Wright piano or Desiree Wright music? I'm like blanking right now. I started only a little while ago, but like that's kind of more for like, for composition and other, like I have some stuff for that on there. But yeah, Twitter is probably where I spend the most time though. So that's a good place to follow. And I don't always follow people back, like, unless I kind of sort of already know them, but I can still get messages too. If somebody needs to contact me for something, I can still get their messages.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we've appreciate having you on and taking the time to answer our silly questions. We do appreciate it, Desiree.
No, it was a blast. Thanks for having me.
Doodtacular.